Hey guys, I am Dead Hippie, and I figured it's about high time I get up off my lazy ass and do my half of my supercharged battle. And in case you're wondering, no, that's not one of those weird ass black tooth things they put over their teeth. I lost my broken tooth today. The doctor went ahead and pulled it out real quick. Or I say doctor, I mean dentist. But he went ahead and pulled that today, and that's what I'm left with. I have another appointment sometime in July. I think it's the 24th to go in and get a cap or whatever. But anyway, my opponent in this supercharged battle is one known as Galen Marek, codenamed Star Killer. He was a male human apprenticed to the Darth Vader with an extreme connection to the Force. He was raised on Kashyyyk and is the only offspring to two Jedis, Mali and Kento Marek, who managed to survive Order 66. Vader then killed Galen's father and trained him to be a weapon. Yeah. So he's okay. He's 1.85 meters tall. I don't know how to trade that over, so someone do that for me because I don't know. Okay, so Galen then was taken and trained as an assassin. Yep, okay. At a young age, he was able to beat much more powerful Jedi targets such as Ram Koda, Kazdan Paratus, and Shak T. He was then later betrayed by Vader and trained a little bit more by Ram Koda, the Jedi Master. So, yeah. Through his efforts, he was able to start the Rebel Alliance and blah 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 blah. I need to get down to training under Vader. Here we go. He was trained not just by Vader, but also by a brutal training method where having a lightsaber wielding holodroid named Proxy trying to kill him at all attempts. Yeah. Oh. Whoa, this is an interesting fact. Alright. Despite Vader's cruel treatment, some of the worst horrors Starkiller endured were actually self-inflicted. On one occasion, Starkiller had Proxy chain him immobile in the dark and deprive him of nourishment until he successfully assembled a lightsaber through telekinesis. While the exercise has been a failure, Starkiller felt it had strengthened him. In meditation, Starkiller took to staring at his ignited lightsaber blade, using the red coloration to make himself think of anger and carnage in order to draw on the dark side of the Force. However, Starkiller remained endlessly frustrated by his inability to experience visions of the future, and as such, broke from usual routine. Any break from usual routine would surprise him. Wow. Okay. So, Starkiller was self-inflicted a lot of torture. Come on, I need his styles. I don't remember. Son of a bitch. This is a very long page, guys, because I'm using it on the internet. I found his information and I just kind of saved the page to my internet browser because I don't want to write down all this crap. This is a lot of stuff to have to write down. Oh, yeah, he was later cloned, and in the comic books he ends up killing his clone. So, yeah. This page is getting absolutely worthless. Powers and abilities. Galen Marek early lightsaber training consisted of simple tutorial and basics before sparring matches, blah 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 blah. Kazan, both Shakti, both of them greatest duelists of their time. Yep, he's been able to beat some of the greatest duelists from the old Jedi Order. For himself, he's specialized in Juyo, Shien, and Seresu. Yeah, he actually had basic familiarity with all 7 forms of lightsaber combat and is able to recognize them while in his opponent's style, but he prefers to just use those 3. His application of Juyo was highly focused and aggressive, and his style was randomized and unpredictable, laced with sudden force-back attacks in the middle of complex lightsaber sequences. This focus and concentration allowed him to bring down opponents through sheer tenacity, though it also led him to ignore his surroundings and left him open to attacks from any other direction. So, whenever forced onto the defensives, he would fall back on his practice of Seresu. Marek's Form 3 usage was largely self-taught, his skills acquired through imitation of Proxy's Obi-Wan Kenobi module. Despite his lack of formal training, his prowess in Seresu was considerable. A notable application of his improvised Form 3 uses was during his duel with Ram Koda, where Marek's skill enabled him to hold off Koda's Juyo frenzy long enough to tire out the Jedi. He also employed this technique during his duel with Darth Vader, allowing his overconfident opponent to wear himself out and then counterattack. Marek also proved able to defend himself against other highly aggressive duelists such as Kazdan Paratus and Maris Brood, ultimately allowing him to defeat them. He was also highly skilled in the use of Shien, heavily favoring the unorthodox reverse grip of the form. He practiced a variant of the style known as Sith Shien, a fighting method that relied on sudden and rapid attacks to bring down opponents quickly. Now, here's where it starts getting interesting. His Force powers. Galen was exponentially powerful in the Force, from one of the most powerful forces of all time. Even the Dark Lord of the Sith, Emperor Palpatine, believed that Marek's strength in the Force rivaled his own. As a young adult, his abilities have developed to the point where he was able to defeat Vader in single combat prior to his death at the hands of the Emperor. In the comic books, he doesn't actually die, he just gets blasted from the Death Star. So, depending on which continuity you do, either one's real. Marek's skills of telekinesis were considerable. He often cleared entire hallways and rooms with powerful force pushes and repulses, and even caught TIE fighters in mid-flight. Proficient at telekinetic lightsaber combat, he would often direct his lightsaber to seek out specific opponents and impale them, often killing them instantly. He was able to redirect fired missiles and ballistics. Through the use of telekinesis, he could, albeit with great force, change the direction of falling Imperial 1 class Star Destroyers. Here is a very specific point. He did not pull down the Star Destroyer. He changed the direction of the Star Destroyer. Very, very specific difference. That is very important. He changed the direction. He forced it into the ground. He did not pull it from the sky. It was already falling. He just made it fall steeper. Okay. In addition, Marek was also able to use this ability for fire manipulation, such as dismantling and reassembling his lightsaber during meditation. As a trained Sith apprentice, Marek grew to master Force Lightning. He could cast the energy so powerful that it would kill an opponent in a single blast and could target more than one at a time. He was also able to channel lightning attacks to his lightsaber, thus amplifying the blade's attacks with dark side energy. He applied lightning in a more tactical manner, charging up and shorting out certain types of machinery. His proficiency with Force Lightning was evident not only in his use of the technique as an attack, but also in his ability to deflect it, as demonstrated when he battled this Emperor aboard the Death Star. Furthermore, Marek could manipulate the technique to generate Sith Seekers, essentially a combination of Force Push and Force Lightning. Another powerful trick that he learned was the mind trick, the ability to control the minds of other individuals, especially weak-willed beings. Through this technique, Marek could compel subjects to do his bidding or simply make them lose consciousness or kind of ignore he was there. In battle, he would use this to confuse his enemies and just spread chaos. In addition to his considerable array of techniques, he also possessed a version of force speed, which allowed him to dart quickly across the distance. Okay, that was only for the game, Galen Marek. Alright, in the game, he had the dashing ability, which was a variant of force speed. In the comics and books, it is stated that Galen Marek is proficient in what is known as the Force Warp ability, a very rare force ability where it takes into effect temporal tamperings with space-time continuum, allowing him to, faster than the speed of light, teleport, essentially, from one spot to another. He was able to use this ability in the comic books to tie Luke Skywalker in a duel, a no-holds-barred duel. Luke Skywalker has met the living essence of the Force and can enter a Force Enlightenment stage to where his Force powers can devastate entire armies, and Galen Marek was able to tie him. Very, very powerful in the Force. Okay, now on to his equipment. His lightsaber, well, his first lightsaber, kind of. Galen Marek's first lightsaber appeared to be based on the design utilized by Vader, featuring an emitter shroud and a mostly solid casing. However, rather than follow the oversized, bulky design, Marek opted for a considerably more skeletal make. His weapon features an exposed crystal chamber, and rather than include a hand grip, the whole weapon was sheathed in somewhat tarnished-looking bare metal. The blade utilized a set of red crystals supplied by Vader. He wielded this weapon with an unorthodox reverse grip and utilized it against the likes of Ron Koda, Cast Imperatus, and Shakti, as well as Vader a lot. In addition to wielding in combat, Marek also used this weapon to aid in his meditations, holding it in front of his face or staring into the ignited blade or telekinetically dismantling and remantling it. The weapon was ultimately lost when Marek was betrayed by Vader, when he was impaled telekinetically and hurled through space. His second lightsaber, which was given to him after his resurrection on board the Imperial, Marek was given the weapon of Ram Koda, which he had originally retrieved from Vader during his duel with the Jedi Master. Marek quickly adjusted the green-bladed weapon, utilizing it during his escape from the Imperial. The weapon saw use on Cloud City and Kashyyyk against the likes of the Imperial Shadow Guard and Captain Ozek Stern. However, while Marek wielded the weapon successfully in combat, he never truly felt it was his own and was unsuccessful in utilizing it in his meditations. To rectify this, he replaced the green-bladed crystal utilized by Koda with a blue crystal he found on Kashyyyk in the ruins of his family's hut. The crystal from his father's lightsaber, in fact. So, interesting there. After 1 hour of fine-tuning it to fit the new crystal, the weapon was finished. The newly modified weapon made Marek feel as though it was truly his lightsaber from then on. With the new aqua-colored crystal, the blade seemed lighter and moved more readily in Marek's hand. He also noted the weapon's superior optical properties. Now, see, it didn't actually change anything in the lightsaber, it just made him feel more connected to the lightsaber. It's all about the mind. By changing from the green to the blue, which is a color he felt more natural to him, because he more readily faced on combat, he was able to use it better because he felt like it was his. Do you see where this is going? The human mind's a crazy thing, ain't it? Okay. Okay, so after he modified that, he continued to use that one until using it against the man who gave it to him, Vader. After defeating Vader, Malak wielded the weapon against his master's master, Palpatine. He was able to subdue Palpatine, but was ultimately incapacitated by the Emperor's Force Lightning, which Marek blocked to save his friends and get them off the fucking thing. Which, in the comics, is not how it goes. In the comics, he gets the force of their two Force Lightnings is so much that it blasts him out of the Death Star and actually shoots Palpatine into the elevator right into Darth Vader. Yeah, weird. So, okay, lightsaber crystals. Malek's original was a set of red synthesis crystals supplied by Vader. He favored the color to think of blood and fire during his meditations. These crystals were lost, and the red crystals are synthesized, so they're more powerful, and yada yada yada. You all know this if you've seen anything that has to do with KOTOR. Then he used the green crystal, though he was rather uncomfortable with it. He went and set off looking for a different color crystal and found the aqua colored crystals from his father's lightsabers, which were much more to his liking. So after that, he was able to find several other crystals in addition to these, such as yellow, gold, purple, all in compressed or unstable varieties, signifying them to be synthetic in origin. He also possessed a rarely seen crystal that produced a black blade. That's probably my favorite one. He had that in the comic books and in the game as well, so yeah. During his years training under Darth Vader, Galen Marek clad himself in a simple Imperial combat uniform, his training gear. However, due to the years of wear and tear it suffered, the uniform was a tattered mess, held together only by Marek's mending. Marek also possessed two variations of the basic outfit. Many years of use, the worn-out suit was mended for the harsh conditions that Marek faced on numerous missions for his master. The first of these were the heavy gear which he wore during his time on the Roxas Prime, hunting for Kazdan Paratus. It was able to defend him against hazardous environments. Though this variation was a bit thick and heavy duty, it seemed perfect for dealing with the jagged metal edges and Raxus wastes. The second variation was the light training gear which he wore on Felucia during his hunt for Shaak Ti. It was designed for hot and humid environments and was essentially a stripped down version of his basic combat uniform. This light gear consists of his basic uniform pants and with wraps covering his arms and gut, but with the exception of a strap holding on the arm wraps, his chest and upper back were left bare. One of the straps across his chest included a set of leather pouches, and he kept a rangefinder slung across his back. Very, very weird. During his time on the Imperial, Marek was clad in a simple, standard-issue medical robe. Okay, and he also had a set of several disguises. When Marek was given his new mission to found the Rebel Alliance, the Rogue Shadow was given a fully stocked wardrobe. For the most part, color range was limited to either black or brown, and depending on whether he was representing the Sith or the Jedi, though he did possess other outfits. His usual garment provided by Darth Vader during the mission was a heavy Sith robe that featured light armor plates and a large flowing black cape. One of the dumbest motherfucking outfits I've ever seen. One of his notable Jedi-inspired garments was the Jedi Adventure robe that he donned during the Cerulean Treaty and continued to wear during his assault on the Death Star. Marek's bounty hunter disguise demonstrated a strong Mandalorian influence, notably in his breastplate and vambraces. His Corellian flight suit was predominantly green and featured a single bare metal pauldron on his right shoulder. The jungle combat gear he wore on his second visit to Felucia was based on the ancient Masasi armor. Very, very old armor, very durable. The industrial explorer outfit he wore during his second visit to Roxas Prime appeared to be standard issue hazard environment protective wear. Now, that's pretty much all there is to tell you about Galen Marek, aside from the fact that he was 28 in the video game, and in the comics he was 30. Now, let's see. What other games has he appeared in? He's had, Force Unleashed 2. He's appeared in Soul Calibur 4 as a playable character, which was kind of weird, but probably one of the more fun characters. And let's see. Anyway, Bantha. Let's see. In the comics, he was regularly shown being able to hold off Jedi with far more experience than he was, and also shown in the game he was able to stand up against and defeat Jedi with much more practice, much more experience, and much more connection with the Force. In the comic books, he was able to tie Luke Skywalker in a duel. He was able to consistently beat Kyle Katarn in a duel, and was even able to beat Jaden Core 1 or 2 times. They only sparred about 3 times because Jaden and Galen were always on mission. Let's see. In the video games, he was able to beat Ram Koda, Kazdan Paratus, Shaak Ti, Darth Vader, and even hold off the Emperor long enough to be blasted out of the fucking thing. In case you all don't know, Shakti is the same race as Galen Marek's opponent, Ahsoka Tano. And for the most part, when people deal with looking up stats for Ahsoka Tano, they have to keep relying on Shakti because we know more about Shakti than we do about Ahsoka. So think about it this way. Shakti is Ahsoka Tano, but with far more training. Galen Marek was able to kill her by blasting her to a Sarlacc pit. Granted, there will be no Sarlaccs nearby for Galen to use against Ahsoka. Still, though, it's very hard for me to bet for Ahsoka, knowing that Galen has beat someone of her own species, even though their species has considerable advantages over the human race, especially in Star Wars. But anyway, guys, I'm done. This is my part. It'll be going up right now. So, shivadabushki. Watch it. In the comments, go ahead and leave whether you think Galen would win or whether you think. Then go over to, well, you really got to watch both of them first. Go over to Gingerbeard's channel and watch his video of him stating facts about Ahsoka Tano, and then go ahead and comment whether you think Ahsoka will win or whether you think Galen Marek would win. Alright guys, this is it from me. Stay cool, stay in school, and stay off them drugs.